Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EGL Open Series, and we are in to split number 3, week number 2. My name is Tun. I'm joined by Toby, and into the new game modes once again we go. Toby, excited for week number 2?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been looking forward to this day. I tell you, I've got an exam tomorrow, but I've been scrimming an awful lot this week, Chris. I tell you, I just couldn't help myself. Lots of XE and control, of course, them being brand new. And it's been really fun. It's been really fun playing on loads of different maps, you know, the different settings and the different modes. It's been a nice change, I think.
I'm glad you're happy, mate. I'm glad you're happy at least. Anyway, but yes, of course, we do have those 2 new game modes coming in alongside Escalation, as we did last week. But some changes have rang on through here, Toby. We'll go through them in a bit, but I'm curious to see if we're going to see EXES come out on top again this week. Obviously, there's a couple of teams we expected to be in here, sorting some things out at the moment. We have sort of seen that highly rated are kind of no more at this moment in time, so we're figuring out what's going on there. There's other rosters we're expecting to start coming in very shortly as well, but EXES Esports so far looking the strongest competitors.
Absolutely, they were dominant last week, right? They clearly had no issue with the complete mode switch up, right? They were dominant on execution. Had a relatively close game, mind you, against the Spanish, of course. That produced that incredible clip that I've seen a number of times now. You were hilarious in that, by the way. I just couldn't stop laughing watching that back. But no, that was incredible, right? That was a great little intro into execution. Really enjoyed that. But yeah, shame not to see the Spanish team actually return. I do wonder if they're a full-time team now, you know, so to speak, and sticking for the foreseeable future. But yeah, definitely EXES seed number 1, and they're the team to beat today.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the changes, though, that have rang on through here, Toby, because there is a couple of them that we do need to cover, of course. I think, for me, the most important one is the fact that we brought best out of 3s in all the way through the tournament now, so you're not just rolling into one map. It is best out of 3, so you have a chance to kind of prove yourself across all 3 modes, Toby.
Absolutely. I think that's my favorite one, to be honest. It's something we've missed for a while, I think, in Gears Esports, right? Because before Escalation, it was best of 3s and best of 5s, right? That's what you'd play, whether it was back in Gears 3 when you had Koth and XE in the cycle, or through any of the other games with just execution, right? It's kind of just the fact that Escalation's length forced there to be less maps for it to make it logistically possible. Both at events, actually, oftentimes, but, you know, online events as well and tournaments. So it's great actually to have to take benefit of execution and control's shorter map length, so we can get back to having, you know, more maps, because at the end of the day, you know, more maps, higher competitive integrity, and everyone gets to play a little bit more. So it's really nice to see.
Yeah, I think best out of 3 Escalation we would have been in for a long time, or at least starting the tournaments at 9 a.m. I'm not sure many of you would have been too keen on that. Let's head into the bracket, though. There are other changes that we have rang in, which we will talk across the broadcast as well, but most of you would have seen the announcement. Nonetheless, the semi-finals are starting to fill up. Of course, we are one further than usual. PhantomT against Team Xenix is going to be the game that we are watching, as Class 1A and EXES Esports kind of waiting for them to get through. I know some of the games were taking a little bit longer than anticipated, but we nearly are filling up these semi-finals completely. But as mentioned, PhantomT against Team Xenix should be an interesting one, Toby, has to be said. Of course, when we do get to that grand final, it is the best out of 5, and the format kind of switches up a little bit. But of course, at this moment in time, we've got Escalation, Control, then Execution to finish things off. So we are going to get to see Escalation this week, not something that we did see at all last week, of course. So PhantomT against Xenix, how are we feeling on this game?
I think this could be a very good game, actually. We've got PhantomT, who really started coming into their own, right, towards the end of the last split, causing upsets in the major and whatnot, or the split finals, should I say. And then you have Xenix now, who aren't their full team today. You might have seen my tweet earlier. I mentioned Slazen and Banged have joined the roster. Unfortunately, Slazen wasn't available today, so who did they fly in to replace him? They've got Slaps. Slaps is playing for Xenix today. Kind of like that old school roster return. Of course, former teammate of Starkster and Breaker, so that's nice to see, right? I wonder if with that huge pickup in Slaps now, who's gone from strength to strength himself, whether they can, you know, beat PhantomT, because so far they've kind of been arch rivals of those two teams, but PhantomT have just been improving over time, gradually, and I think they still have the edge today, but I'm curious. I'm really starting to, you know, double check myself on that, because with that Slaps pickup, you know, Bang joined the roster, maybe this new Xenix squad of today can actually really do well.
Yeah, potentially. I'm interested to see how they are going to do. Nonetheless, of course, X's are kind of who is everyone is banking on to get through to that grand final. But I'm curious, Toby, do you think we see execution between these two teams? I'd like to hope we do. Of course, both with players on their rosters who have been around for quite some time want to flex their execution muscles. Of course, it's quite hard to say. Execution muscles, of course. I'd be interested to see if we do get there, but it should be an interesting game nonetheless.
Yeah, I think so. I think we could see a map 3 today. Usually we say that we'd like to see it, but I think we could
Always.
actually see this happen, right? And I'm really looking forward to that. If that does happen, I think that'll be a really really good game to watch. Even the first two
Mm.
maps, right? Again, it's kind of the rosters between the two, making it a little bit more interesting than what we've seen before, and also just the brand new modes. Just we haven't seen these two modes on EGL stream just yet. Of course, from given how quick last week was, right? So it'll be great to see these two play on the brand new modes in control and execution. Breaker, of course, was in STM, one of the best teams in Europe back in Gears 3 when Koth was knocking about, and he's a big fan of it actually, of the single ring game type coming into Gears Esports. So I'm wondering if that experience from back then will really help his team today. And of course, he's a very loud IGL, likes to organize and micromanage positions and stuff. And I think that's something that could really actually benefit a team in control above all else.
Absolutely. Well, letting everyone on the stream know, because I know many of you are here for that reason. The new skin is out. Of course, skins are coming every single week. And this week it is the talent skin that is going, of course, in the specific. Toby, honestly, completely forgot the name of the skin that we're releasing apart from the fact it's a talent. Remind me when you're the Gears
Phantom
man.
skin, Phantom
The
skin.
Phantom skin. There you go.
Lovely skin at that.
It's literally on my screen to my left hand side. If I just actually looked, nonetheless, the Phantom talent skin is now available for you to complete your quests and get in there. And yeah, get a hold of it. You get that for just watching. I hope you do stick around, of course, to see these new game modes. There was loads of you who stuck around last week, so please do continue to do so. We have been enjoying your company, but we will be loading into this game very, very shortly. I'm trying to think in terms of changes as well, what else we can discuss here. Execution now first to 6 rounds as opposed to 5, Toby. We, of course, have discussed the theory around all these changes throughout the week. Would you like to explain the reason as to why we went 6 from 5? Obviously, we've discussed it. We consult Toby. We ask him all the time. So if anything's wrong, it's fault. His fault. But obviously, moving up to 6, just to kind of extend the match length, but also has its other reasons.
Yeah, I had a bit of an opinion, I guess, on the round count for execution. I think something that we noticed very quickly was how quick it went by. Right, execution
Yes.
last weekend on stream. But I think the fact is more so that when you compare to older games with execution now plays a lot quicker. I feel like when you take away a lot of the added time of rotating around, waiting for power weapons to respawn because of that ring, because of the 2.0 factor, and also just the lethality of everyone and the one shot gib range on a lot of these shotgun fights on initials. It really brings down that round length a lot. And we wanted, of course, this was my opinion on the matter anyway, was to try and get the sides even as well. We used to go from first to 5 down to first to 4 for MLG settings back in older Gears games. So each team had both, like in a first, if 4 rounds were to be played, one team got the more advantageous side equal amount of times in those 4 rounds. So, and so instead of reducing the round count, it wouldn't make much sense because it's already much faster. Put it up to first to 6. And then I guess the last major point, there's a lot of minor things to it, but the last major point is a lot of teams are actually wondering, why is execution so short when escalation, for example, is so long? When you have that, drastic difference between the two, it kind of, brings that feeling of should execution be weighted as heavily if you're not playing as much game time and have as much time to prove yourself as such, and have it weighted as a map like escalation is equally. And I think Phase 6 makes a lot of sense for that. And, we get to see more of the action, right, of execution. Yeah. I know UMG and the North Americans have gone with it very quickly with a similar sentiment of First to 6 being better. So, yeah, I think it's a welcome change, and I'm excited to see it in all its glory this week.
Yeah, I think making sure that teams have a fair point of at least the fair amount of rounds per side. Then of course that does sort of play into keeping on a level playing field, etc. But more rounds is better, of course. I'm curious if we're going to see a different map this week. Of course, we only got to see checkout last week, which I was definitely calling checkmate for the majority of the time. So we'll apologize for that one already. But I am curious to see if we are going to see some different maps this week. Obviously, check out very, very quick, but I think the teams kind of like that, though. They like this big meet in the middle of those initials and then kind of go from there, though. There was only a couple of rounds, specifically in the final, that we seen were a little bit more thought out. It kind of felt like at times we were just butting heads, like teams maybe haven't necessarily got their strats down yet.
Yeah, I think Checkout has always been a fan favorite, right? And it looks like a really quick headbutt over by the actual checkout and then a 1v at nades each time. But there is a little bit of method to that. There is a good side, there is a bad side. One side you can go into the middle lane to get the angle and platform. The other you can't really. And some rounds it's better just play on right-handed advantage, whether that be through plat or checkout. So again, first to six, it makes a big impact actually on checkout, more so than perhaps the other maps in that regard, especially considering it's so quick. It's probably the quickest map of all of them. But yeah, check out fan favorite. I hope we do see some of the other maps, some execution classics, of course, in Canals and Gridlock. Tomb we haven't seen yet, of course. Strangulate made that map, former pro. A lot wider that map. There's 2 1v1s on that map, which is really cool to see. And Clock Tower as well plays a little bit differently than what we used to back on GUE, the most recent execution game. And it's been a while since Gears 3 when you had a more similar play style as we have now. I really like the execution map pool so far, and I think the general sentiment from the community is yes, Checkout probably is the favorite right now, but a lot of the other maps are also really liked as well.
Good. I'm glad. Hopefully, obviously, we see more teams sort of getting into the swing of things when it does come to these game modes and joining us on a Sunday. That's kind of what we have been striving to do. We sort of seen it as the changes, it was the right time to do them. And of course, with all the testing going on and the NA side of things as well, I've got a feeling that things are probably going to change on that side. And of course, trying to sort of stay kind of parallel to a certain degree to what is going on in the official program is one of our goals. But at the same time, mixing it up as best we possibly can for the European scene as well is what we are trying to do. This first game should be getting underway fairly shortly. I know the teams have had things up and running. At least they have met on the bracket. So it's one of those things where we just are waiting on them joining up, which should be very, very shortly. But yes, yourself in again. Fruit chose to jump in and play. We were chatting with him there. His series didn't necessarily go as well as he would have liked it to, unfortunately. I'm looking forward to the week that you play, Toby, to see if you can go a step better, mate. I mean, you're talking a big game, so I'd like to. Are you thinking you make it past round one?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It
depends what mates I can muster up. If I can steal Zenji from 1A for a week for some reason, if I get Brutal back, say Tama's playing for a different team. Actually, say Tama's playing for the team that I've been scrimming with all week today. So yeah, he just slotted in my spot, and I think they've got EXES now. So that could be a difficult game for them. I know they won their first round themselves, but yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'll play. But I like casting as well, Chris. Like I've been playing all week, but I've still been looking forward to Sunday and casting with you. I don't know. It's tough, mate. If I could do it all, I would. But sadly, I can't.
You'll always make more money casting, pal. I hate to tell
it's
you.
not about the money. It would.
It's about the
if
love,
it was about
mate.
the money, I'd be training every day and learning to have thumbs again on a controller, I guess. But no,
just practice your casting instead, I suppose.
Just cast while I play. Yeah, simple.
Yeah, mate, you got it all in the bag. Hopefully this game's getting sorted out very, very shortly. I'm curious if it's worth maybe throwing this to a break whilst we do figure out what's going on with the game. We should be back very, very shortly. We'll be heading to game one, the semi-finals, right after this. We'll see you soon. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EGL Open Series, split number 3. My name is Son, joined by Toby, and we are heading into the first semi-final, which is not the semi-final that we did promise. This time around, we will be going in against EXES Esports in Class 1A. A game we seen last week, to be honest, Toby, and that's why we were kind of going over the other side of the bracket. But of course, here we are now with some miscommunication on some of the players' parts. I'm not going to call Breaker out, but they jumped into the game without telling us. So that's meant we had to wait on the other one coming in, and the game, as far as I'm aware, has indeed started. So we're looking to jump in very, very quickly. The only difference, I suppose, this week, Toby, is, of course, the game modes have flipped around to a certain degree, at least. So we'll be getting escalation first. Does this give Class 1A a better chance, or does it just make it easier for EXES Esports? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I definitely favor access on training grounds, first map escalation, so that might give them, the leg up in that sense. And my only hope is that 1A don't, lose any motivation or composure from that, because second map will be district control. And I've played against 1A, and I've seen them scrimming. They're a pretty damn good control team. And district is probably the most hectic map, I'd argue, out of the three, the most chaotic. So if you have Jimmy B just going absolutely off as he has in the past in the shotgun department, Brazil doing well, Para playing as usual, fast self, then maybe they can, do really well, and one ring lead to another, and see them take it to final map, which would be check out EXE. How about that for a rematch if Class 1A is playing well today?
Yeah, Class 1A will probably want to run that one back after last week, of course. But nonetheless, into the escalation we go. How do we play this game again, Toby? I can't remember. Class 1A, though, with a bit of a better start here, although Crimson's comes through and finds 2 off the rip, and that's going to be 2 home hills there for EXES Esports.
Yeah, there you go. Zenji will win on home street, though. Right now, domination. He's just going to run to his left. I wonder if he actually was spotted there. There he was. He is going to be chased. Hill broken, so he's bought time. His team will survive for now. And he will continue to survive quite a while, actually, as everyone just waits for their teammates to come off respawn to find Zenji. And now, A Hill is going to be regained for access. Meanwhile, B and C were actually captured for 1A, so quickly coming out of spawn, but losing lives already.
Bouncer's trying his best in and around B here. Waits for the push. Well played. B will be locked in by the looks of things for EXES Esports, not before Bouncers does go down. It is a bit like, I mean, thinking of the 3 game modes, there is certain levels of pace on each of them. I know Execution was obviously very, very quick paced last week, and I think that might just, to a certain degree be checkout, but each mode kind of has that different little bit of pace, doesn't it? Escalation can slow down at times. Obviously, we know that Control is fast and frantic. Execution, as said, can be very, very quick, but also can slow down drastically at times. Nice little balance going on at this moment in time. I know a few people have been, myself included, been playing around with respawn timers when it comes down to Control, and maybe that's something we can take a look into, of course, as well. We do feel as if the game does need slowing down a little bit, but so far, EXES Esports are pretty happy to slow it down themselves here. Looking solid at this moment in time. ANC in their Control. Decent little lead on that win condition. They'll be more than happy to be in this spot.
Yeah, EXES have been quite disciplined, actually, throughout this. Little Bouncer's holding the shots, and he's going to win that 1v right there. And there starts the capture of the B hill. And right now, EXES have a huge points lead. I think triple cap would do nice, if they can actually see it through, and they do. Just about catching the down. Does Payne's there at the end, and they'll take the first round. But yeah, just to echo that sentiment, Chris, in terms of the modes, the different pacing that the different modes have, I think we've got 3 very unique modes in that sense. Escalation is just extremely unique, in of itself. We always described it as being that when you look at modes similar to other games, right? And Execution Control a little bit more traditional compared to, different game modes in Control compared to Hardpoint from Call of Duty. Of course, just the single ring is iconic in shooter esports, and Execution the single life. I think right now the 3 modes together are a really interesting combination of different play styles and pacing and speeds that can go on between gameplay in terms of individual play and also as a team.
As a team, EXES Esports making the push up towards the middle here, of course, and that one because they need to try and get control here as best they can, but B is currently being fought for and won by EXES Esports as well. So winning across every single facet of the map. By the looks of things, now it's to push over towards A. Just Boltox coming through is going to be able to help EXES Esports lock this one in. Brazil's going to be coming in very weak. Ooh. Well, without a head as well. As Crimson's lands perfectly. And that is a very quick round. 40 seconds is all it took. Is Escalation just a little bit longer than Execution and Control? Not sure if it keeps up at this pace.
I mean, if triple caps happen every round, it's almost like Execution at that point, right? You win the initial and the UOE if it happens within 40 seconds. One thing I'm pretty sure of now, actually, Chris, is that Crimson might even be the best Boltok player in Europe. It just seems like every time he is the one to pick it up for his team. Like his team are very much aware that he could be the best player on their team with that weapon. But also he just seems to do really well each and every single week. And I think we'll see more of his control, his Boltok action on control, actually.
Answers code trying to make the push up top. Bounce has got through completely unnoticed here. That's got to be called out, surely. Zenji really gets caught with his pants down. Flash going to go on through here with the drop shot up. Bounces was tempted to go for it, although it might have just been a Death Witch. That's some good shots there. Ooh. But oh, actually, teammates killing each other again. This week one. Pain's the last alive here for EXES Esports, trying to solidify control here. Allow Craze the opportunity to pick up drop and Class 1A on the back foot again.
Yeah, it came down to 1v at the end there, but everyone's come off respawn now. Zenji's trying to fight through. Pains with the double. Nicely done from him. A and B hill captured now, and still a drop shot to use as well. Speaking of the devil, there it is. Craze with that weapon finds one, bounces. He's going to find Jimmy B elsewhere. Look at Pains, just sneaking right up to the enemy spawn in order to try and guarantee a shotgun battle as soon as possible. In fact, that drop shot will only take out him thanks to the spawn protection that Class 1A are working with right now. I don't think EXES will be too happy about that. But I wonder, they're still going for this triple cap, Chris, and bounces. Does find one. And there goes Brazil and Jimmy just about saving the day. But double the score for EXES as it stands.
Yep, still in a good spot here. I think that's the thing when you make that. No, I mean, the Pains is going to get caught out there. When you make that push and you can keep them in there for a little bit, at least protect B for a little while, gives you an opportunity to get some map presence before it is broke, but it isn't broke by Class 1A. And now it's an opportunity for EXES Esports to try and show what they can do in the retake situation. Looking at the setups though, it's a line across the map from both teams, and it's just a case of who's going to come out on top of the gunfights. Crimson's the one kicking things off. It will be Bouncers to follow it up with a second as well. That's going to be B surely locked in, or at least decapped. Para having to back off yet, having to stay alive, but look at this across the other side. Pain's now trying to survive as best he can. Disgusting two-piece from him, but the damage was already done. The rest of the team overextend. That's 3-0.
Well, Pains and Bounces, the two Italians, seem to be doing really well, Chris. As you can see, 10 kills for Bounces, in fact. Pains with double kills left, right, and center. I'm telling you, if those two are on fire, there shouldn't be any reason that they lose today, honestly. It's usually Crim that's been the one that's been performing most consistently, I would argue, in most recent times in tournaments. Pains, you know, here and there, he's had incredible games. Sometimes he's not really been his usual self, I find myself saying, but, you know, Bouncer seems to be having his way in the 1v versus Zenji, who is, of course, a really difficult challenger. And Pains seem to be doing well today. Expect EXES to continue this form. 3-0 up now.
Fighting one once again from EXES Esports. It's just so hard to go up against a team like this and win these initials, really, isn't it? Ara will fall, and that is not quite going to be that for this round, but nonetheless, everything they could possibly want. EXES Esports right now. Extending over towards B. There's Pains whilst the rest overextend towards A. They haven't lost any of it, have they, really? EXES Esports. For ever how much we know that control and, of course, execution, the new modes in, have been the more practiced. Oh, dearie me.
He even slow walked up to that wall then, Chris,
yep.
Just below the nose of Para to hide his footsteps. That should come on through triple cap. Of course, Craze as well, actually. Getting the double kill off screen with the Nashia. Definitely bought enough time for Pains to play in such a passive way, which of course led to a kill. But right now it is the EXES show. 4-0. It just seems like Class 1A just keep just keep being pushed out and kept in their spawn, essentially. Killed over and over and over. Even on home street as well. And it's just making it so difficult for 1A to do anything, really.
Tough showing for Class 1A here, and of course they've got a control to go into next. Probably not an ideal scenario. I think it's when these initials are coming through. It's just the raw slaying power of EXES Esports. If they can kind of put it to the other team in this way, you can do this in every single mode. It's not just about, obviously, the tactic side of things. Yes, it is obviously a big part of it. How is Crimson's alive?
That was crazy. That was nuts. Bounces 1v2. And he's finding kills, though. He is keeping it up. There goes the meat shield on Brazil. This is actually bonkers from EXES right now. Individually, they're playing so well and somehow survives after all that. Zenji couldn't find the remaining shot.
Oh,
and he's still going. 1A off spawn. Jimmy B will be taken down. Para just about protecting himself from bounces, but the drop shot is going to come through. EXES have done the damage individually, and now everyone is off respawn, and they're OE in with that drop shot.
My eyes lit up there, Toby. I was like, play of the week, there it is in the first map. Lovely.
Easy content.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Yeah.
I was delighted when Crimson's got that snipe blast. Oh, go on, Brazil. I like that. Nicely done. Bounce is going to fall. Well played. Class 1A, they win on both sides of the map, actually. And F and D now going over towards them. Maybe life in the old dog. Yes. 4-0 down, though. That's the problem. Need to do this for, well, the rest of this round and another 4 after that as well.
Difficult task. Para on his own over at E. Pains, you can tell he's just hungry to push that 1v on home street if given the chance. There's Para. Bounce is going to find him, no problem. And Jimmy B as well in a little bit of trouble potentially. Pains is hitting his shots. 2 players there. Pains does not care. He will be taken down. Crimson's around the corner though. Gets 1, gets 2. And now Brazil just behind on his own. Surely this will come on through for him. Yes, it will. Crimson's is on fire. In fact, the whole EXES team is. Everyone is getting double kills today, Chris. It seems like Craze is already overextending. And they look to close this one out in good form. 5-0. EXES simply looking unstoppable this week again.
Yep, very dominant out of EXES Esports. Crimson's with the usual keyboard out immediately. Which I sometimes live for, but very good performance from EXES Esports, has to be said. Nothing you can really do about that, honestly, if you're Class 1A. Initials, rotations, just everything, essentially. Top tier, they're from EXES Esports. Very well played. They'll be heading into control, feeling nice about it. It's not really too much to talk about, really. I mean, more so to the point of that, you know, yes, okay, the new game modes are in. Yes, okay, it's different strategies, if you like, on specific maps, but when they slay that well, they're going to be hard to beat, aren't they, Toby? That's the problem for the other teams here in Europe.
I think that map right there was just a really big advertisement to the fact that if you dominate on escalation, you're essentially playing execution because you're winning off the initials, right? They clearly, right, were winning each time on the initials. A drop shot was placed to try and make it even more initial heavy, right? If 1A was able to find that weapon, one of those rounds to really change things. But EXES is such a dominant team that was so consistent in their shotgun fights that essentially it was just them winning the initial and then forcing the triple cap through just leverage, right? Having a drop shot, having a bolt talk, having numbers advantage somewhere that they take advantage of. I think that really was more like an execution than what we've seen before with a lot of escalation maps where you trade rounds or you play for points. No, I think EXES really were just looking for kills at all times. And, you know, maybe, just maybe Control could change that up a little bit, right? And it's less about the initials and more about how you rotate and play for setups. And, you know, it's less about et cetera, and those strict initials on the same areas over and over every round. But then again, it really, Control is still a lot about slaying power, right? Numbers advantage does matter in this mode just as much as the others. And I worry that EXES are just so formidable today that no team really would come close to beating them. I question whether, when EXES are playing this well, whether the old, highly rated squad would be able to beat them. They really are just playing that well today, clearly.
Yeah, playing so well at this moment in time, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to sort of come in, because I mean, we seen all the way through in the last season, it was like highly rated all the way, and then of course EXES sort of came through towards the end, and of course doing very well overall. And I'm curious to see as time goes on, where we start to get some teams back. There seems to be a bit more competition. Where the land is sort of going to lie, because I feel as if we've got caught up in the new modes, etc., etc. We haven't really discussed who is the best team in Europe and who looks like the competition right now. It doesn't look like EXES have a lot of competition, Toby.
No, I think this is kind of like a following on point from towards the end of Split 2 when EXES started to rotate that all Italian squad out for kind of the more like the powerhouses of Europe.
Yeah.
Many thought EXES, based on a lot of online tournament success, what they were just dominating in, that they would would actually go on to win the split finals for Split 2, but they didn't, of course. Highly rated pulled it out the bag and maintained their dominance throughout. I think a lot of players have been waiting for this EXES roster to finalize into something that really is just unstoppable. It's kind of just like the 4 best players in Europe kind of situation going on. And I do wonder whether, whatever roster returns from coming from this, highly rated squad and whatever amalgamation of players that do end up there, whether they can beat the EXES roster, because they're just so talented, these guys, right? I think you've already got the two best players in Europe right now, Pains and Crimson's on your team. You've got Bounces still doing work, playing loads every single day. He's playing SSGs and then 2v2s and 1v1s and whatnot. I wonder, can any team really beat them at this point? Especially when the highly rated players are having a break and they're not at the full team and at their full strength. It's going to be very difficult for them to come back and challenge them.
Yeah, it is tough, isn't it? But, I mean, we didn't think anyone would beat highly rated last season, and Nexus changed things up, and all of a sudden, we had a team that was very difficult to beat in themselves in Nexus. So, things can change. Hopefully we get a little bit more involvement from some of those top players once the whole highly rated thing is sorted out, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll have some competition on the board. But here we go into the control, and Pains is blinking at people, and they are dying. Cinema control paramount here. We can see the push outs come in from Crazed as well. That's the side of the map that they do indeed want. Crazed finds one. Nearly finds. Oh, he does find the second. Actually, it's traded out. Fair play there. On the side of Crazed. EXES Esports still in control though. Class 1A trying to fight out.
Holding very close their access. Crazed getting that double, right? They thought that was the door opening for them to just carry on and kind of spawn trap, if you will, but led to this situation. 1A getting angled out from Craze in the middle. Great positioning, just crouched underneath that window. And they will see the whole of nades out, and rightly so. 1A have rotated for that next hill. They had that spawn ready to go on that side. They just need to hold on to it now. I'm wondering, power weapon-wise, if anything will come into it. Zenji has just got a 1B still. I'm wondering if he's waiting for reinforcements right now. There we go. Power's going to get spawn up and get the angle on Pain. Zenji will hold his right hand. Nicely done. But meanwhile, EXES playing it really well. They're pushing out the spawn instead of straight to the hill. Jimmy B, meanwhile, was able to get one kill, but EXES is still very much here.
Trying their best to force their way through from the front. I guess for EXES, they're kind of got to go through a bit of a chokehold to get themselves in a position to do something, but do better to get you out of a chokehold than Pain sprinting at the enemy team. He finds one. Control very much in the hands of EXES Esports now. Zenji from behind, though, will find one. Would have liked to find the other one with that second shot, but did clean up. Zenji's done well anyway. Can he find a third here as well? Teammate Toby Campbell living as a spirit there behind him, but not quite working out for Zenji in the end. But good play around the back. It's going to bring up a little bit of pressure towards the front as well. The rest of Class 1A can make the push through. EXES Esports, though, just about still holding on here, Toby.
Tell you what, that play from Zenji was incredible. Pain's right there, just getting that kill somehow was amazing too. Play after play so far from both teams. Brazil and 1A really scrapping for these points on this hill. The short spawn has been changed from team to team. Neither's really had it for too long. Now Brazil, a little bit of help just behind him. Zenji's nowhere to be seen though with frags. They're rotating early, it seems like, 1A for this next hill. At the opposite corner of the map, where the Talon typically spawns. And now Brazil finding Pains. 1A actually should have the advantage for this one. They don't have the torpo, but they've got spawn advantage.
Yep. You can see that early rotation coming through. leaving the scrap to EXES Esports. Happy for the rotation and to try and lock things in. You know what? Somebody didn't get the memo though, and Jimmy B is caught out. And here come the rest of EXES Esports. Those spawns going to start coming through in a second for Class 1A. Where is it? It's over towards Bandstand, which is not what you want to see if you're a 1A fan. Oh, that's through the smoke as well from Crimson's, although I don't know if the view from our side of things is just maybe a little bit skewed, but nonetheless, is this going to be a second as well? Has to hold it. Is going to fall. And still, Class 1A keep control of the spawns and ultimately control of the point as well. 50 points they've now hit and only 30 behind.
We missed it a little bit as well. Zenji got a double with frag grenades, which probably just about did enough to keep EXES at bay there, despite Crimson's pushing into the spawn with a torque bow. And now 1A have been able to set up for this hill, right? They've got 2 players right at the back of the traditional spawn, and EXES have to make the play through Green and Boltok to try and take down the players. Question is, are you going to go straight at the spawn, or are you going to try and jump through the window and pass them? It looks like the former, actually. Pushing across tree, they're just breaking them down. Para and Jimmy taken out. Brazil with the double, though, keeping things alive. As you can see, it was a 2-pronged attack. EXES split up for the spawn push and for the ring push in the end, but 1A, they've done all they need to, right, Chris? They've got all the points necessary, just only 10 seconds left to go, and 1A already rotating for the next hill in the center.
Yep. Keeping things nice and uniform if you want it here, not trying to just get in a firefight with the side of EXES Esports. Zenji, though, quite happy to fight fire with fire. Fair play to him. Really has had a good game so far. Look at this from Class 1A. Set up on both sides, I think, so the crossfire should come through, but those grenades are going to be deadly. And Crimson's well placed to deal the damage with that. Not necessarily placing his torque ball well. A dangerous prospect on the last. Para's in trouble, if not very, very weak off that one. Doesn't even touch him.
Oh, he's got a nade. Gonna bank it off the pillar. Will that catch Zenji? Oh, he rolls, but it doesn't get far enough in time. And that nade should just about... No, I say that again. 1A able to just keep the numbers at least level after losing players. Something I've been really surprised about. You know, we saw Zenji earlier getting the kills. Brazil's got a double at times as well. 1A have actually done a really good job of getting the slaying department back in level terms after what was an absolute slaying from EXES on TG. Look at this. Brilliant.
Yeah, they're not doing too badly. Oh, Lola sounds excited. Maybe she's watching the controller as well, because things may be getting a little bit spicy here if Class 1A can actually start locking down some time. They've not done too bad on the slaying front, but they've leaked a lot of points, it feels, there.
On that middle hill, yeah. And that's the most difficult hill to hold and an easiest one to break, arguably. So EXES have got really good points there. Valuable hill for sure if you can find that one. 1A really need to fight back now. If they can hold on to short spawn, right, while Para's taken out. Zenji as well, just wait to regroup before making this final push. Oh, that would be amazing. Brazil, though, getting pushed hard by EXES as they try and push the spawn out. 1A are shutting them down, though. Para will find one and be the last one actually remaining. And as a result, he will get the hill. And I think 1A actually spawning behind him on short spawn as well. Yes, they are. Thanks to that amazing hold from Class 1A, they will keep the advantage on this hill.
All right, that heads-up play from Para as well. Lets the rest of his team make that push to try and get a hold of it themselves, and then he's going to hold the corner. 1-2, give him the third as well. He was already down, but we'll count it as his. That was definitely his, though. His Crimson's falls. Well played to Para, and well played to Class 1A. He's set up so well, and he's just gaining information all the time for the rest of this team to make this push through. That flash grenade is going to make things a little bit more difficult, though. Can Para continue to stay alive in the corner? He falls. Will the rest of Class 1A follow? Esports now forcing their way through. Still 37 seconds. That's a well-placed torque, and there's a grenade available here for Brazil. That's going to be stuck on the hill. Torque was still available as well. Can he hit the hipfire? Chooses the Nasher and will fall down. Esports eventually do force their way through, and still a decent chunk of time left here. Crimson's Boltok, danger. Hara trying to push through and needs maybe a little bit of help to try and get rid of Crimson's, but we're quite happy to hold the time. Nonetheless, he will fall down from shots from Zenji, and that will be the last little bit of time going over towards Class 1A. Aaron's going to leave that as we start to make a fight over towards Cinnamon once again. It's been quite close, this, to be fair. 50 points in it, nonetheless. Esports still, I don't want to say comfortable, but a decent little lead. That's a big fight won from Class 1A, though, and all of a sudden, they've got Cinema control.
Oh, right now, EXES are just resting on that advantage they gained in the center hill, right? In terms of the points, 1A have done a really good job of just keeping their shotgun play up, actually. They're winning really crucial shotgun battles, players getting doubles continually throughout this one. Of course, we just saw Para pull off a nice clip holding the right hand earlier on the previous hill. And just look at this, right? 1A played the spawns far better on that last hill. EXES didn't push out the shorter spawn through the left. They instead tried to just go for the hill constantly. Were unsuccessful when they try to push on forward through there. Now they have to actually go for the traditional spawn, that really hard hold on the left, or they have to try and jump through these windows with aggression. Looks like Bounces and Pains. The Italians will try and break off to find Para. You just see how far back in that spawn he is, Para. You never see this on a different game mode. It's only Control where you find this kind of map control. Meanwhile, Crimson's is going to split off to the front with a torque bow. We'll find one. His teammate will find another. Para's going to be taken down. EXES slaying Power once again coming into it. Jimmy B coming into his own as well. The double for him elsewhere on the map. With only 10 seconds left to go potentially on this hill, the rotation down to Bandstand will be important, but Crimson's actually taken himself out there somehow with a torque bow. Not sure how that happened.
We'll not question it. He probably intended it for it to happen, to be honest with you.
Just to make sure the enemy team doesn't get that torque bow, I guess. He was already pulling and he wanted to use the last... I don't know. But 1A, again, I'm telling you, Chris, it seems like they're playing Control a little bit better than the other team. Right now, EXES are just really surviving on the slaying power because 1A have had the better positioning oftentimes.
Yep. That really can get you a decent chunk of time if you can get set up and get a nice hold going. Doesn't matter how much slaying ability the other team have, although Zenji is going to be a unfortunate victim to that. Oh my goodness me, Parrot. Done well. That's a good spread onto Pains as well, who will drop down and will be cleaned up by Parrot. Careful, Talkbow incoming. Crazed is the one to hit the final shot, but Bouncers will definitely help out there. Brazilian Co starting to make this push over towards Bandstand also. A 50-point game still as EXES Esports start to flex their missiles a little bit down here towards Bandstand. Feels like a hill that you won't get many points on though, Toby. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've been scrimming by any stretch of the imagination, but it's big, wide open. Seems like a kind of a classic headbutt in the middle, see how many points you can pick up kind of vibe.
I think the goal with this hill, from my experience this week scrimming, is that you have to push out the team and keep them trapped on whatever side they spawn on. Crimson has got right hand on Bandstand here, which is really advantageous actually, and he's going to utilize that. Pains, of course, standing right on the edge of the ring. It's kind of just whittling the numbers down to make it a possible break, or hold rather. And the focus right now is to actually rotate to nades, as that is a really big hill, and if you can wipe the enemy team and hold on to that hill, you're in a very good position to get a lot of points, as we saw EXES on the very first ring of this round. And this is actually 1A. 1A's got the setup right now. They've got 4 players back. They just need to be able to keep the EXES players at bay. Oh, Zenji's going to be dropped though off screen. Brazil as well. EXES is surely going to collapse on this. Jimmy B forced to push out to try and find the kill. Oh, Power's nading his teammate. It's not going to really benefit anyone. Panicked perhaps a little bit, and Torpo picked up elsewhere for Crimson's too, and now I wonder if this is the last hill for EXES to wrap up this map.
Yep. Oh, as you mentioned, Para's grenade throwing not necessarily benefiting anybody, apart from EXES Esports, to be honest. It's just putting some bullets into his teammates. Push coming in here from Jimmy B, who really has been at the forefront of these pushes for Class 1A. Finds one, waiting for Zenji to back him up here as well. Won't have time as Crimson's deals with him, but ultimately the trade comes from that. Still, it's only 22 seconds of time needed for EXES Esports here. It's been a good example of control, I feel this. You know, it has really...
Yeah.
For the most part, you know, I know some complaints around spawns, etc., and the absolute chaos that does ensue on control, but in Class 1A, I've played this quite nicely in a sense, but as you mentioned, EXES Esports, the slaying power, just the real trump card in this one. Class 1A, they'll need one big push here, as it does seem as if EXES Esports are set up.
They do. Oh, big shotgun fight. Pains will find Power. That's Blue Room taken down. Zenji as well, as he's dropped by Pains once more. And Brazil will be dropped as well. No one else to be able to get to that hill in time, I don't think. As EXES Esports just come away with the advantage in this final third. Look at that. Craze going off as well. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. And it was a much closer game that, throughout the first 2/3, if you will. But EXES gaining a big advantage in the middle hill, as I mentioned earlier. And to be frank, Chris, I'll agree with you. Usually we describe control as chaotic and hectic, and as to suggest it's disorganized. But that was a very organized control match in my opinion, right? It didn't really feel like there was a 7-second respawn time. It felt like there was a 10 or a 12-second respawn time because it was just wave after wave of both teams making plays as a unit and defending as a unit. So it felt really strategic to me. And thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. It was more so about rotations and getting hold of spawns. Then sometimes, we just see the headbutting occasionally. Teams starting to maybe get into the swing of things with control as time does go on. It's only been in for a few weeks, so if you guys at home are watching are struggling with your control gameplay, just take note of what these guys are doing. They're rotating nice and early. They're making sure they're setting themselves up very, very well. I think I'm like District, obviously it's a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit easier to do. But honestly, I really enjoyed that. But EXES Esports really would have enjoyed that as well. That's a 2-0 for them. Another grand final. We'll find out who they will be meeting very, very shortly, Toby. But decent little showing from 1A there. If they look to improve their escalation, maybe have a look at execution in a future date as well. Maybe there's something can be done on their part.
I think so. I think they showed really good teamwork actually for District, and most of it honestly was me just praising them actually because I was looking for that teamwork. I was looking for that organizational control. That's what we're as casters in particular looking at. Given the mode is so new, we've seen these players slay. We know what they're capable of, right? We want to see what utility a lot of these teams can get as a result of the changing mode. Control is very different, and I think a beautiful thing about it is you will see that kill feed just have 4 kills in it oftentimes, just stacking one on top of the other. But a lot of those kills, in my opinion, on District, right there at least, it wasn't just crazy nonsense with no kind of organization to it or being able to predict what was going on. No, it actually made a lot of sense. It's just the mode will incentivize a lot of kills to be stacked on one another and really roll into play after play after play rather than the hard stops that escalation and execution is known for. And I think over time, control is going to get more and more organized as the settings and the swaps and maps and such get finalized. I think we'll see more smoke usage as well. Did we see a smoke there? That whole map? I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Maybe 1 or 2.
I think I'm not going to be, say I'm the master of this or think or whatever. But I've been watching a lot of Gears 3 comp recently, and the one thing I noticed is just their smoke usage was incredible when they really worked that out from the games that I've seen. And right now, I think a lot of players, probably NA included, are still relying on the flashbangs because they're so crucial the stuns to make pushes. I think when setups become even better and better over time, smoke usage will become increasingly important. We'll see more smoke usage generally in the mode, and I can't wait to see that develop over time.
Yeah, 100%. The strategies will change as time does go on, but one thing that has not changed is that EXES Esports are very, very good at Gears 5. They will be going at the grand final, which should be coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break with the grand final. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EGL Open Series split number 3, week number 2, and we are into the grand finals, which for the very first time will be a best out of 5. Of course, with the 3 different game modes, it kind of does mix up that best out of 5 a little bit. Obviously, makes the tournament go a little bit quicker, meaning we can extend these sort of things. And this is probably the best part of it, the best out of 5 in a grand final. But of course, I am joined by Toby Campbell as per usual. We got EXES Esports taking on PhantomT. We were just having a little chat there, Toby. I don't think we're going to see maps 4 and 5 in this one. I just like the look of EXES at the minute. They look very, very good, but I know a lot of people will want to see PhantomT do well.
Yeah, EXES just have looked really, really good. 1A were playing really well on control, mind you, but it was kind of just that was again, the middle ring that gave them the extra 50, 60 points that gave them the huge lead in the end, and also the slaying power coming in through in that later third on district. But no, I mean, looking at map number 1, what more can you say for EXES? They were incredible on training grounds, weren't they? And of course, we're going into first map escalation again. So EXES are going to feel quite at home, I think, in that sense, and feel very confident after their awesome map 1 earlier on this very mode. But, in fact, I'm looking at the scores from the semi-final. Vazgar was played first map between PhantomT and Zenex, and actually PhantomT won 5-2 on that. So I'm sure, actually, PhantomT will be pretty happy about this map, potentially, based on that. But likewise, a strong map for EXES, and I think, saying that, both teams might actually be pretty happy that Vazgar has played first.
Yep, Vazgar, one of the ones to survive. Of course, we did cut down the map pool for escalation. Just with the new modes coming in, we felt as if, well, off feedback from the community at least anyway, that there was a lot of maps to practice, wasn't there? So we dropped that down a little bit. Now you only have 13, but my goodness me, Death Dancer kicking things off. Crazed and Crimson's fall to the wayside. And Gears AU's pushing on through here. My goodness me. There you go. A locked in. B's the last one to sort of play with here, and looking like a swarm domination about to take on through PhantomT. I tell you what, that's locked. And that is a 1-0 lead from PhantomT. Give me more of that throughout this final. 57 seconds is what it took. And PhantomT take the lead.
See, yeah, definitely the underdog coming in through and putting on a quick round just like that. Of course, EXES haven't dropped a escalation round yet on broadcast today. Not sure how they got on in the previous rounds, but wouldn't be surprised that that's their first round they've lost, actually, of escalation the whole day. And yeah, honestly, PhantomT at this early point, right, we haven't had a highly rated or a roster formulated from those kind of players just yet in this split. And so PhantomT, if they can actually win this grand final, beat the Titan of EXES today, it would be really good for their seeding points, wouldn't it? For the remainder of the split, it would be a really big week for them.
Yeah, it would be huge. Every single week is important, though. You want to make sure that you are getting all those EGL RP that you possibly can. Makes things easier a little further down the line, of course, and towards those grand finals is where your eyes have to be cast. One at a time, though. It's not been a great start for EXES Esports. PhantomT are running through them right now. My goodness. Crimsons and Craze dropping down again. Only B left remaining for EXES Esports. PhantomT are on their way there. Pins ready and waiting. Does have a little bit of backup from Lil Bouncers, and just trying to keep a hold of A here. They should be able to. But PhantomT really have come out the gate swinging here. Can they keep it up, though? That's the question. As Pins and Bouncers both fall. C's went back over towards X's control, but PhantomT once again in control in general.
They very much are. On board of Crimson's right hand. PhantomT electing to get out of there as they see reinforcements to the right. And they do have the double cap as well. Nice down from Haynes, actually. Might actually open things up. Haynes is coming straight through the middle. He's got a second down. He does find Nestiques. Crimson's will start working his way forward, but the fight continues in the middle. Vision with the double, saving his teammate in the process as well, and should keep this double alive. Especially when Bouncers loses his 1B over on the B hill.
Oh, I mean, they're just outgunning them here.
They are. They really are, actually, across the board. This wasn't just a first round fluke, it seems like. PhantomT are here to play in this final.
Playing well so far. Vision trying to look and see here and playing that one well. Crazenco backs against the wall here. This may well be a domination being locked in. It is going to be domination locked in. That is 2-0 to PhantomT. And EXES Esports Well, surprising everybody here by finding themselves behind, and maybe a kick up the backside is what they needed, but PhantomT very, very much deserve to be where they are right now.
Absolutely. So we spent the entire semi-final on broadcast saying how EXES were just incredible slaying-wise and seemingly unstoppable, but PhantomT have just completely turned it around. That storyline so far. I don't know, Chris. You know, at this point in time, after these first 2 rounds, I'm not sure if we will be only seeing 3 maps today.
I know.
PhantomT are looking very, very good, and I wonder if things will continue the way they are.
Worth noting as well, thank you for yourself actually putting these scores in our little Discord that we have, but 5-2 Vazgar escalation win from PhantomT in the previous game against Xenix, losing Nexus control though, but then winning 6-0 on execution on the last map, which I do believe was Gridiron, if I was correct. So, not Gridiron. My goodness me. Gridlock. Gridiron. There's so much going on in my Gears of War brain at the moment, okay?
Yeah, lots to keep track of now with the 15 map pool and the 3 modes.
13. Keep up.
Or 13, excuse me. Yeah. see, even then, right? We're struggling here. There you go. As it stands, literally neck and neck score by the second, but that will change just now. As Massive Pains pushes on through on the right, 2 players will fall. The Italian duo put in work on the tank.
Yeah. Esports maybe slowing things down here a little bit. Bounces with the shots over towards A. PhantomT are going to get a hold of that. C available as well. It's a precarious spot here for Esports. Once again, PhantomT, the ones with the win condition.
Has to fight out with that spawn though.
Yeah,
Craze full red.
Steek's
pushing up, see if he can get the down on Craze. Not going to happen. Crimsons will fight back. Opening the door for Craze to push on through. Double for him. Another player overextending, perhaps a little bit too late. That's Ricardo, that will fall. And the home hill is regained for EXES. Meanwhile, they're even overextending to the final hill. Vision will find one, but he can't find the second. And this should be a triple coming through now. Yep. 2, 1. Oh, it's close. Just about getting through. Even had his shot, his Lancer out the entire time as he knew he had to try and get there as fast as he could. Pains will fall.
Looks like they should be able to fight out of this, although you say that, Crazed, left on his own. He is going to fall, but is the damage already done? That's the question. 30-second win condition here in round number 3. Ricardo extended on towards A. This should... Is he going to flip it? Going to be close. Oh, well, if they get a hold of B, of course. Oh, yeah, that's definitely going to flip things around. Pains has to go big here. Already the only one left, and they will get B back here. Now, that is definitely going to flip it. Dormant condition will remain. Oh. Gravity not on Pains' side there, but a push has to come in. This could be 3-0 to PhantomT here.
Big push. Very important. Pains will get the down. Craze will find another. And that's good. That's really, really good, actually, from EXES, not losing a single life. It's going to be enabling them to push on forward. Bounces, meanwhile, wins his 1B elsewhere. And now Vision is trying to contend with him. That's in full rad. Vision is not letting up. Still pushing right hand. Bounces, holds on, though. Health regenerates, and it's huge from him. Saving that B hill. Death Dance, or rather Nesteeks, excuse me, will trade out. Ricardo will find one, but the COG team will win this round thanks to an incredible set of shotgun fights from EXES there in the closing moment, seemingly, of that round. A really difficult push to make out of their spawn. And, of course, those big 1Bs from Bouncers.
Yep, nicely done. EXES Esports eventually get themselves on the board here. Maybe the escalation practice hasn't been coming through as much as they would have liked it with the new game modes on offer, of course, but gotta give credit to PhantomT. They really have worked tooth and nail all the way through here. And honestly, very much deserved those first 2 rounds, and we're in control the majority of the third. They'll be disappointed not to be 3 up. Incense now going to be coming in.
Nothing too crazy weapon placement wise from either of these 2 teams. Makes a lot of sense, you know. PhantomT have been doing really well. EXES, meanwhile, probably just feel like they need to give it some time for them to get back to their usual groove. PhantomT again. All-out aggression. Crazed in a lot of trouble, actually. Great wolf packing from PhantomT, saving Ricardo in the process as he was down before. Lovely angle from Pains from across the way. A Sea Hill cap nonetheless, and now we switch over to the EXES camp, who are flying on the other side of the map as to try and counter this.
Oh, bounces. Just about gets away. Vision will slow them down though as the push from A was coming in. MT holding on here, but Pain's getting aggressive, Toby. He might get cut down here and does. MT. Oh my goodness me, what's that? Where has that come from? Bounces to the side, didn't even see him. There's one more player who'd pushed past. It's a big fight this actually, it's still early on, but PhantomT with control. Bounces could do with winning this one. I tell you what, he has been absolutely lit up continuously there by Ricardo. Very well done. A has kept a hold of from the side of PhantomT, but they lose C in the process.
The PhantomT are here to play. Their teamwork, their wolf packing, their reactions to the different rotations that EXES are making. It's really, really interesting, actually, seeing them go toe-to-toe with EXES so well in all of these different areas. And now, again, EXES, you know, last round, they really relied on their ability to make that amazing team push and bounces to win his 1Bs. Outside of that, PhantomT were outplaying them. Can PhantomT keep this up now? 4 riders Crimsons opening the door. PhantomT to continue pushing. Lots of Lance of Fire being put that way, though. Just left him on his own. One player dipped out in the middle. Crimsons doesn't seem to care, though. Amazing back A, and there comes the reinforcements. 3 players down. Make that 4, in fact, for PhantomT. And the overextension now coming on through for EXES.
That should be the round. It's going to be hard for them to get through here. Going to be quite a few Lancers aiming towards that side of things. Death Dancer will make it through, though, and all of a sudden, Ricardo's in, finds 2, can't find a 3rd. Crazed himself will fall. It was looking like it was done and dusted there, but unfortunately for the other side of EXES Esports, Vision and Co know exactly where they were. They pushed through. Now it's going to take a 3 cap. I don't think they got the time. Not going to be able to decap in time. That will be another round over towards EXES Esports. The damage was done when the fight was won at C. Now 2 apiece heading around number 5. Not exactly where I expected us to be, Toby. I admittedly expected PhantomT to put up more of a fight than what we've seen in the semi-final from EXES Esports opponents, but nonetheless, they're doing more than putting up just a fight here on Escalation specifically.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Again, a very opportune moment for EXES there to wipe the enemy team and ensure the score was just too much to come back from. After a really good retake, actually, from PhantomT, it's just sadly they didn't have the time to get back into the round. And now, second half, 2-2. Could have been easily 3-1, you know, in my opinion. Did come down to EXES clutching up on one of those rounds. So hopefully for PhantomT's sake, that they do keep their composure now going forward, knowing that they've been playing really well thus far.
Flashes up from bounces and goes. Things do obviously change around in the half. Well, the fortunes of EXES Esports change. Hasn't necessarily been their game so far, and the revive chain just coming on through. Who's going to come out on top with it? Bounces just about keeping them away. Shotgun's back out. This next shot is crucial. Visions doesn't quite take as much as he maybe should have, but there you go. Is eventually found, and the trades come out. It's EXES Esports on top. F now in their sights as well. D is just about going to be left. Bounces admits defeat on that one, but the job was already done. Leave the pressure on other ends of the map. Backs on down. EXES Esports in control.
No points advantage just yet. Surely will take over soon. PhantomT again lit up from towards the spawn area, but again, Great Wolf packing from PhantomT, but that incend was excellent from Crimsons. Vision walking straight into that one, and Nest leaks down in the process, and here comes Pains, making all that impact, cleaning up the kills, keeping the damage high, and PhantomT just scrambling to try and just stay alive and prevent a triple cap. 3 seconds on the clock. Vision, can he clutch up? Bought time, trades with Crimsons, but Bounces is still there, left alive. Can Death Dancer reach it? Yes, he can. And I believe that's the round saved for now.
Just for now, though. There's a lot of time being going over towards EXES Esports. in the past 60 seconds or so. 50-point lead in around a 30-second win condition. PhantomT trying their best to try and get back into this one, and well, they will get a hold of 8. The overextension comes through, but then EXES Esports saying, well, Raze, you want to make the push over towards D. Hog team win condition also still there. So this is kind of the domination or bust from the side of PhantomT. But looking at it, it's not too far away from just get a decap for a few seconds, and that might do it. Paids are going to have to keep them off. Getting aggressive with the push, but look at the Lancers coming in. Pains is just the distraction tactic as everybody starts to fall. There's a big push coming in over towards F, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a big difference to this round as EXES now pushing back around over towards E. They keep a hold of that. 10 more seconds to keep a hold of it. The decap and D as well. This round should realistically be done. EXES Esports, that's 3 in a row. That's a bit more like it from them.
EXES, of course, won 2 rounds in a row, essentially, thanks to one team wipe, right? Leading to a triple cap or a points as a result of it. And PhantomT had the challenge of trying to do the exact same thing in that round, but EXES just held on really firmly. Payne's playing extremely well, keeping his life, while the rest of the team do rotate in time and thwart that attack. And now the question is, PhantomT, they've lost 3 rounds in a row. Nothing has changed strategically, weapon placement-wise. Can they keep up this fire? Can they continue to wolfpack and find enough team fight victories, or will EXES just continue to go from strength to strength and carry on winning a lot of these team fights now, and like they have in the last 3 rounds? PhantomT need to keep it together.
Standoff to begin the round. ENF, though, is going to go towards PhantomT, who plays their resources maybe a little bit more aggressively. Now EXES need to make their way back through. Try and find a route through PhantomT here. Quite happy to be aggressive and get the setup and then kind of work from there. In's going to have to back on down. Crazed is here. This company. They do win this fight in and around tank though. Vision going to fall. Death Dancer going to follow. And that might just open things up now for EXES Esports. Pushing over towards F comes and bounces ready and waiting over towards E.
Really good. Big 1v. Craze will lose it though. Nastix finds one. A trade out over at E. Now bounces. Can he continue to win his 1vs as he has been able to? No, can't on Nastix. Lovely showboating from Nastix there. Nice little reaction shot to find the down. Now E and F hills finally captured for PhantomT after passively positioning themselves over on that side. Looks like just a moment of reorganization for EXES as they look to push over towards the F side. Pains will find one. Crazed a second. Cross from Nastix the other side, but Crimson's clutching up, saving his teammate. That's Death Dancer falling. Now EXES are springing to action, rotating all the way around of Asgard to get the flank onto the E-Hill. Crazed as well will find Nastix, and suddenly, just like that, Chris, EXES have been able to get a few kills, wrap around the entire map, and just change it up in a heartbeat. But the score still in favor of PhantomT.
It is. That's 1 win condition. 45 seconds or so and ticking down. Well, EXES Esports have a lot of time yet. If you're PhantomT, that's a long time to hold a solo point. Death Dancer gonna fall down as well. Pains and Co gonna take a couple of shots, but look at this pinch starting to develop over towards F. Mystique's now trying to go back over to help his teammates out. He is going to be able to help his teammates out, but not for very long as the domination's starting to tick in. Mystique's is dead, and they just tightened their grip on the round, didn't they? 4-2 now to EXES Esports, and this is feeling a little bit more like it.
Yep, it just seemed like now that EXES are starting to make the plays, right? Being the usual selves and executing very well. It just seemed like perhaps they needed to warm up and get into the groove a little bit. on those first 2 rounds. Surprised actually that PhantomT haven't tried something a little bit more drastic weapon placement wise. To be honest, I would, even like a drop shot or something, right? To force a fight, an aggressive fight at the start after all the initials that they've been winning at some point in this map, especially in a best of 5 series, right? You know, like stretch it out a little bit, test it out. You're not playing escalation now. Next map, push the strategy to its limit.
Yeah, PhantomT do need to develop something else going on here if they can survive this one. Shots in from the Steaks. It is the usual aggressive push out of PhantomT, and then just up next is Esports to answer the question. Oh, it's going to help things along the way. Still in control and finding the kills as well. Shots into bounces, not going to quite be enough vision, just rolls into the shot grenade that comes on through as well. There should be D going towards EXES Esports. Crazed cleans up 2-3. My goodness me. They all just fell in a row for Crazed, and he's throwing it back a little bit with that one. EXES Esports to be locking in that one in 5-2. 2 scary rounds at the start, but since then, flawless. They take a 1-0 lead in this best out of 5 grand final.
What more can you say? It's almost as though they heard us talking about how well PhantomT were playing. And after 2 rounds, they just flick the switch and have 5 rounds in a row. And honestly, everyone spread out kill-wise. You know, Craze was 16 kills in the end, 4 more than the closest in Pains, but you know, Bounces for me was having a lot of those crucial shotgun plays. Crimson's as well. It was really a team effort from all those guys. And a pleasure to watch, actually, that they could actually bring themselves back after those 2 rounds and look like a completely different team. Likewise, it was unfortunate that PhantomT couldn't keep up that momentum that they had going from the first 2 rounds. I think it was kind of like that there was close following 2 rounds that EXES were able to steal away some rounds, basically just on 1 push. Perhaps that demotivated them a little bit and really turned the course of where things were going for Vazgar.
I think you can say that, you know, that's something that could definitely come through if you're EXES. You can go into it maybe thinking, okay, we maybe would walk this one a little bit easier. I mean, that's no disrespect to PhantomT. It's just the way EXES have looked so far. Those 2 rounds go in, things get a little bit more interesting. You sort of say to yourself, right, okay, let's get this one done. And they do so 5 rounds in a row to close out Vazgar. Now we're going to be heading over towards control specifically. Oh, sorry, execution specifically on Gridlock. Then it will be Destruct Control, and then Harbor and Clock Tower, last 2 maps if we do need it. But something to actually note for everybody who is in the channel this week, we don't just have 1 skin, we've got 2. So the Team Phantom Enforcer now available on your quests if you aren't live.gearsofwar.com. If you are not, get yourself over there, and we will help you out to get a hold of some skins. Everybody in there keeping an eye on that one. So thank you for everybody who has come to hang out this evening, for the skins or not. We're happy to have you along in the journey, to be honest with you, and hoping you're sticking around for some really good Gears of War. What's the route in here now then? If you're PhantomT, you're heading into an execution. It's on what Gridlock specifically as well. I mean, how do we find the chances? I mean, we haven't seen this on stream specifically, so I'm excited to see it personally from my point of view. Which way do we say it go now? I mean, it's just hard to ever bet against EXES at this point.
Yeah, but PhantomT, for me, they did show in those first 2 rounds that they could do really, really well, specifically when it comes to initials and wolf packing. And actually, Gridlock is a lot about wolf packing, whether you play heavy down low with the boom shot, say 3 low, or 2 on the flank, 2 through the arch for the quick pick. It doesn't really matter. You do need to wolf pack, be close, and have chain revives and those flashes and the stuns, smoke usage on point. Likewise, in the snipe tower, you literally need to hold each other's hands, essentially. And shoot the same target and be there for the quick revives if the opportunity does present itself. Now, we know actually from the scores that they 6-0'd Xenex on this map on what was a very close 2-1 series. They went 300 to 250 against someone Nexus, did Xenex. They won only by 50 points on that, 5-2 on Vazgar on Escalation map 1. For them to come out and just have a 6-0 on XE was actually quite shocking for me, because I know the Xenex roster has been scrimming a lot of execution recently throughout the week. They're not unpracticed on that mode by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, it's still the early days, but not unpracticed, right? They are somewhat prepared. But I think, speaking to Breaker briefly, it sounded like PhantomT just had a little bit better strategies. And I'm wondering if, some of those things will come into play today on this map. But likewise, Gridlock, it's a classic map. I wonder if EXES have some tricks up their sleeve for it too.
Yeah, I think, with these new game modes coming in, it is going to give teams like PhantomT an opportunity up against EXES to sort of say, right, okay, this is a new game mode. These guys have been dominant, but do they know as much as us? Do they have the strats that we have? Are they expecting anything special out of us on this specifically? Is there a specific player we can make to combat against their strengths? That's what I think is good about these new game modes coming in, because it doesn't just have to be about escalation, which kind of plays the same way across the board on most maps, in all fairness. So it does give teams maybe a little bit more of a chance against these squads that they wouldn't usually have a chance against in escalation specifically. So we will be heading over towards Gridlock. We will be heading on execution for the first time this evening, and let's see if PhantomT have got something up their sleeve, to be honest with you, because I mean, a 6-0 against Breakers boys, of course, is nothing to sort of shy away from in any sense of the imagination. So Gridlock, we move on to the very much classic Gears of War map. I remember first Xbox I got, mate. I was terrible and still am, but nonetheless, memories are there of Gridlock, and I'm sure they are there for the majority of the Gears community. More of a nostalgic map, Toby. I know we've had discussions around it specifically in terms of its playability, but nonetheless, nice to see it.
Absolutely. Strat-wise then, Payne's on his own actually, a snipe tower, but still being super aggressive. Surprised about that. Simple 2v1 for PhantomT, snipe pickup. They've gone heavy on Boom. Towards Arch. Bounces now, trying to even out the numbers by pushing around the flank, finding Nestiques, opening the way for a really simple pick of the Boom shot from Craze, leaving just a 1v3 now for Death Dancer to deal with. And he knows he can't deal with it, it seems like. There we go, wrong swaps, in fact. Yeah, there was a shot grenade. I thought I saw something like that picked up somewhere, surprisingly. So I guess they'll just reset that and go from the start, I guess. I'm not too sure, but
I'd presume so.
Presume so, yeah. But yeah, interesting insight actually into the strategy of both teams. Actually, I was surprised that Payne's literally just rolled in when it was a 1v2, right, when he knew no one was around. Are
you surprised?
Yeah, listen, Payne's might genuinely be the best player in Europe, but it's not something you typically do. When you know your team is running a strat that is a bit off base, and usually you're expected to be outnumbered in snipe tower. Why roll in when you can just sit back and lancer, or your smoke or whatever it might be. Just can keep your life. Not too sure. Guess we'll see in round number 2 or round number 1. Depends where we start from. How things do play out, but so far, classic XE response from EXES there. They were outnumbered. They clearly went for the Boom push, and were able to play out the Arch really, really well with a quick pick and the push onto the Boom car.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that one. I think, if you are on the side of PhantomT in this one, you kind of look at that strat and you go, right, okay, let's see, are they going to do the exact same thing, or is it going to play with them maybe a little bit too much, in the sense that they'll be like thinking about exactly how that one played out? I'm not too sure, but hopefully everything's ready to get started up very, very shortly. I do believe it's actually starting up now, so we'll be jumping back in a second with the right swaps there. I think it was just the shocks that we see Crimson's complained about there, so in that instance, we will get that sorted out and back into the map. But yeah, I think if you are PhantomT on this one, do you change anything up after that first round, or just go with it again?
Well, the beauty of it is it's 1st to 6 now, right, with XE, so you have got a few more opportunities to really test things out before thinking, hey, we need to change it now, before we run out of opportunities to try our different strats, whatever we've got noted down in our heads. I think you could try it again. The thing is, the base strat typically was 2 up top, maybe 1 middle, or 1 Boom flank, and then 1 Arch. Question is whether that continues this way on Gears 5 with the different weapons and the slight changes and the tuning changes. Is yet to be seen. But I think there's definitely potential to do 2 at snipe tower, and I think only with time will we learn what kind of is the optimal strategy in Gridlock and Gears 5. EXES so far seems to, based on that first round, favor playing down low and for that boom shot.
Let's see if EXES do go for that once again. I presume it's just a fresh restart, of course, if considering we played the round and the wrong rules. Imagine it is, as mentioned.
Same strat.
Completely fresh, yeah, but it is the same strat. Ricardo just about going to get out there as well. Does he actually have any help? Well, he isn't going to get out.
Wow. This is incredible from Pains. My goodness me.
God.
Incredible play from him. 4v2, just taking down both players very quickly. And they're just going to win their fight at Boom Arch as well with the numbers advantage that was created. Wow. Pains literally just absolutely clutching up there. The amount of awareness that situation takes as a response, right? A lot of players wouldn't even attempt that. They just wouldn't bother because it could be considered so risky, but thanks to his fast movement, his wrap shots, and the shots in Ricardo, he really opened things up and just won the round, essentially, just all on that one play.
Yep. Massive from him. And now, back into it. I think it's going to change up a little bit. Flash is going to go out. Pain's going to have to back on down. Shots coming in here as well. Vision's the first to fall as we do continue the fight over towards Boom. Ricardo trying to bait Pains out here as best he can. Rowdy going to follow, though, over towards the Boom shot, and it's just that fight that's been won consistently. Ricardo knows he can't really do a great deal from that scenario. Pushes the fight, does not win it. 2-0 now. This is pretty convincing for EXES so far.
Yeah, it seems like PhantomT just into the second round, immediately switching things up, knowing they should just go toe-to-toe perhaps with EXES on this low strat. As it stands, leaving just Ricardo and of course Pains to battle for that snipe and that height advantage and that cross that it can provide strat-wise. Looking at all those players, it's 2 back to snipe tower actually for PhantomT. They want to try and take down Pains as soon as they can, or get across. Nastiques will find one. Pains is just running back at 2. It's incredible to see. And he is going to find that kill on Death Dancer. It's so surprising. You can't die in a 1v2 like this. But Vision was able to pick up the boom elsewhere, mind you. So it's 3v2. And PhantomT are holding all the cards. My goodness me, what a headshot that was. A zoomer from Ricardo, and now 3v1 situation for PhantomT. There is absolutely no reason why PhantomT shouldn't win this round now. Everything going for them. Don't scare me. PhantomT presenting kills like that to bouncers or opportunities. But nonetheless, Chris, what a great round that was from PhantomT.
Yep, really nicely done. They're getting very aggressive at the boom, aren't they? Very, very aggressive. Works out that round. Hadn't in the previous 2, though.
Yeah. I think PhantomT did a great job actually at Boom, considering the numbers disadvantage they were dealing with that entire round, a 2v3, right? And Pains, for me, is just performing out of his mind. Having him just on his own at Snipe Tower really is just handling the disadvantage that they're giving themselves with 2 players at top. Pains just keeps getting the kill somehow. Look at him lurking. They have to be so careful. They cannot let Pains get a kill here. It's literally round winning.
The fact that
Pains isn't able to do that.
They get out with a sniper, though. And then all of a sudden, creates that little bit of pressure. Oh, Vision. Push around again. Oh, he fancies it, and there you go. There's another one going over towards Vision. Oh, he maybe fluffs that one. Doesn't fluff the second, though, and Ricardo finds a shot, a snipe, and bounces is alone. He should be dead, and there you go. 2 rounds off the bounce. For PhantomT, this has been very, very interesting. Of course, first to 6 now as well. Just makes it all that bit more important in these rounds. The ring will be towards Bell Tower if we need it. I need to see a ring play towards the end at some point. I want to see it.
Yep. Absolutely. Strat-wise again. EXES matching them, no. Number 7 is going on the flank, or nades, that's bounces, of course. Pains full red, though, immediately drops. The callouts will be there, 4v3, of course. No longer XC DBNO, it's mitigation, so similar to escalation. If they're able to pick up that down from far away. Crimson's clutching up on the flank, though. 3v2, the boom shot is the reward. They've taken so long at PhantomT to find bounces. As a result, it's going to be a 2v2 scenario. Crimson's isn't aware of where they might be, though. There's somewhere that frag grenade. was thrown. But they've got snipe, they've got boom shot, they've got height advantage, and now they could realistically just look to play for the ring.
Well, I asked for it. Oh, Rowdy. Gotta be careful. Craze now making the push with a shotgun. He'll finish him off. Ricardo. Oh, dear. Oh! He's dodged it as well. I don't believe it.
Crimson's not having any of that after that one. It was nice. I'll give him that. It looked for that timing, the emote. But yeah, I mean, risky. I'll admit, a risky push for Craze, just given it's a 2v2. You have a snipe and a boom shot on your team, right? You don't necessarily have to push a 1v even if you have a body check. But you know, right hand, Craze timed it. He trusted himself, and when you're that caliber of a skill level, I guess you can bank on the fact you're going to win that fight. So 3-2 now. Strat-wise, pushes on the flank. Crimson's abusing right hand, giving his team the advantage. Elsewhere, though, Ricardo picking up a kill. It's 2v3 all of a sudden. Everyone is trying to get into a shotgun battle at this point in time. And Nestix is going to get dropped down bottom. Frags are thrown. Not going to connect. That's 3v1 now against Ricardo.
Yes, the boom really proven to be the yes in the hole here, really. 6 rounds gone. 4-2 now for EXES Esports. PhantomT need to turn it around and do the same back. Bring towards bell time if we do need it. Just about these big fights in the middle. What would you put more stock into when you're playing this specifically? It has to be the boom, right?
Well, I'm learning at this point because I haven't scrimmed teams of this level yet myself in the week, trying to understand how things play out in Gears 5. But right now it seems to be snipe tower less important than it used to be. But Ricardo is going to find the snipe. Thought he got the headshot there, but instead it's actually never mind. He will get the headshot second. Straight after Vision gets some kills. 4v1, and now PhantomT will get a round back as they literally clean sweep the map, winning their fights everywhere. And only 1 round behind.
4-3 now. It's the force of the snipe, if anything. When they get a hold of it, it really has come down to Ricardo finding those shots from up top.
Yep. And what's it going to be? 1v1 for Snipe Tower this time around. PhantomT trying to be as strategic as possible and vary it up every single round. Both teams eager to gain the advantage, but don't want to throw a life away anytime soon. This is problematic for Ricardo. He's lost right hand. Pains will surely push up. But nice crosses, though, onto Pains. That's some excellent shots coming down from the Lancer of Vision. Advantage PhantomT. 4v2. Nestix will stop the push and the retaliation. Snipe not going to hit, but the advantage is gained for PhantomT nonetheless. Crimson's quickly downed. Now can frag grenades pick up a kill anywhere? No, they cannot. We're at a tied game now, 4-4.
PhantomT are really turning this one round.
Yeah. Excellent recovery, honestly, from Ricardo and PhantomT. Comms must have been off the charts there. As soon as Ricardo rolled out, immediately he got Lance's support as Pains pushed up into the middle pillar. Ricardo had to push up on left hand. Brilliant job. Anything changing? Nope.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't do. Rounds will mostly play out the same time and time again. Oh, Ricardo gets sniper as well, but he goes down this time. Pains wins this fight up top, and that seems to be the win condition for EXES Esports. Death Dancer follows. That's a quick round. So when that pressure from Longshot isn't coming through, EXES Esports are able to stretch their legs a little bit. 5-4 now, 1 round away.
Tell you what, Pains has been the secret for EXES right now in a lot of these rounds. Honestly, PhantomT have gained a huge advantage. They've gained a snipe a number of times. They've had 2 up top. Pains have just stolen rounds away because he's been able to find these 1vs. the most unpredictable times.
Always in the 2v1 now. PhantomT probably respect the fact that they've been doing better work. When they do get a hold of the long shot, they get there before anybody's able to really touch Boom. And all of a sudden, Death Dancer's finding heads. There's one. Looking for Pains as well. Should be able to get the one on the grenade. That's a bit of a free shot there. Pains pushes, gets dealt with as well. This is round number 10. 11, I should say. 5-5 now between these two. EXES Esports 1-0 up. This is mostly needed by PhantomT, but well played there from Death Dancer.
Yeah, stunning. That round there, Pains wasn't able to find the 1v or push in as soon as the snipe was picked up right. Instead, Death Dancer did get value from that snipe quick pick. And EXES weren't able to use their numbers advantage down low. Question is, for this final round, is anything going to change strategically for either team? Yes, it is. Two up top now for EXES, perhaps for the first time in this map. Flashes going back in. Death Dancer with 2. 3. There comes the reinforcements, though. 3 There's from EXES now coming up top. They gain in numbers advantage down bottom, but this Boom needs to start doing work.
Needs to. Oh, look at this aggressive push. It's going to be dangerous now. Oh, but look at the snipe shots being landed. Steek's trying to clutch up. Gets his teammate back up. Vision and Co. making this push now. Pains come around the back now with the sniper and shotgun still here. It's a 2v3 for PhantomT, but they're stuck in a bit of a corner here.
They're trying to go wider.
Well, there's the Boom. 2v2. The Steeks falls down. It's a 1v2. Vision trying his best to get away. This is 2-0 down. If they lose this one, though, he's in between a rock and a hard place, and that will be game. EXES 6-5, 2-0 up now in this grand final. What a great game of execution.
Truly stunning that was. My goodness me. I think we all learned a little bit of how to play Gridlock on Gears 5 there from both these teams. I'm so glad we saw a number of strategies be pulled out from different teams. Even EXES at the end there. After Pains was having so many good rounds earlier on in the map, they actually went for the 2 up top, and then Craze comes and rotates in from nowhere to try and gain the advantage that way. It did pay off in the end, of course, but it was only just about, because Nestic's doing a hell of a job of the boom shot. PhantomT were doing a really good job of actually staying alive that whole time, despite 3 appearing out of nowhere up top. What a great map that was, and an incredible final round to see play out.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that you've seen where PhantomT's rounds were coming from. It was coming from picking up that snipe, and then they were doing a lot of work around the map, around Boom, to do with that snipe. But that's what found them a good few rounds. EXES just say, right, okay, let's take that away from them. They do so, which was very bold, because you leave then a 1v3 or 1v2 scenario, I should say, down at Boom. The Sticks gets a hold of it and gets out. But I think the fact that there was 3 up top at sniper probably caught PhantomT off guard, I would say, in that scenario. And then they don't have the ability to maybe push that Boom as quick as they would have wanted in that scenario. If they'd known they had such a numbers advantage, they would have had it a lot snappier. And the Sticks did a good job with it, but you can only find so much. And it's just the aggression out of EXES. They get sniped and they just ran forward from there and just tried to move as quickly as they could, because as soon as they picked up that snipe and I seen the Sticks had the Boom, I was just waiting for it to whistle in. And I think EXES probably had that same idea in their head, that that's what they would do. So unfortunate if you're PhantomT, it has to be said. You look at it, you get a hold of Boom. It's a 2v3. It's a tough one. They kind of got caught in a bit of a bad spot, but nonetheless, a really, really good game between these two before we head over towards Control in a second. Any thoughts specifically on the map, though? I know it has been a question mark for some people, but kind of seemed to play out quite well there. It wasn't just like a one-lane strategy, hit the middle every single time, see what happens. It kind of felt like there was theory towards every single round.
Absolutely. That last round for theory, honestly, that rotation from Craze, the strat change for the 2 up top and Snipe Tower, goes to show that, that the Snipe Tower is not just a position of non-significance, right? Where you just play down bottom, 4 down bottom all the time. I thought that played out really interestingly. Yes, it's not perhaps the classic gridlock that we're used to seeing, perhaps with 3 up top at times in the olden days of Gears 1 and some of UE, but I thought that was really interesting actually to see the strats play out. Right, it was a change of who won at Archway a lot of the time. It was sometimes it was an attempt on a quick pick for a lot of these teams. Other times it was Vision going off on the flank. Crimson's as well on right hand had plenty of back A's as well. On right hand on the Boom flank, which was really excellent to see. I think, long story short, though, for Gridlock, it was all about Pains for me. he was able to pick up kills a number of times in 1v2 situations, which really PhantomT shouldn't be giving away at any point. As soon as you get that snipe and you're able to at least get back to the second pillar and behind it, you have no business getting taken down by Pains. You have to make sure you stay alive. Yes, take a shot with the snipe if you must to try and help your team, but sorry, you cannot die to Pains in that situation. And Pains honestly saved so many rounds for his team as a result of that. If anything, it should have been EXES pushing through with the 3v2 down bottom, right? They had the numbers down there. They should be winning the round through that, but instead it was Pains actually making the strategy work in the end, a lot of the time gaining the numbers advantage, despite starting off really handicapped numbers-wise.
Yeah. But I suppose that's why you send Pains there, isn't it? Because maybe he's the guy that kind of can deal with it, and did on multiple occasions. So that's a big map for EXES Esports. I think, looking from the outside in, we kind of felt that PhantomT would have had to win that one for a good chance, at least in this series. We lean escalation for EXES. We lean towards probably control as well, as we will be heading over towards Nexus. Last series that PhantomT did play, they lost this map specifically 300 to 250 to Breaker's team. So looking at it, you would, probably put it on the line for EXES Esports to do this. We've already seen them on this map as well last week, and they look pretty solid on it. It has to be said, though.
Yeah, EXES were really good on Nexus actually last week, and
yeah,
I mean that is another heartbreaker for PhantomT, that final round, right? So close to winning that one. It was neck and neck throughout, but as well, even on Vanskar, PhantomT had some good rounds and showed some great moments. But it's unfortunate again that EXES just pulled themselves up and made plays that just led into round after round after round. And I'm wondering if they're going to be able to keep their heads held high now on EXES. With the fast, frantic respawns, you really need to be playing to full potential. I'm looking forward to it, though. I'm wondering what PhantomT have planned for this map.
Yeah, it is interesting. It needs to be something completely different, though, with the way that was played there. It's set them back a little bit, hasn't it, realistically? So coming into this now, we need to see something maybe a little bit different out of PhantomT, as you said. But I mean, look, if they can play it as well as what we've seen Team 1A play on District, where it is about those rotations, etc., then maybe we'll get something on the cards. But it's interesting. We should be starting up very, very shortly. Hope everybody's enjoyed the games this evening. Potentially still 3 maps to go, but kind of feeling like this is maybe done. That's a bit of a dagger, isn't it? If you are PhantomT in this one, 5-5, push it there, and then all of a sudden you've got to control escalation before sending it potentially to another execution. You've got to nick one of the escalations or the control off them. You're probably feeling good going into the last map. I think that from my mindset, coming from like a COD background, it was always some teams who they look at like a very quick respawn run and gun game mode, like your hard point, which is like control, of course, etc. You'd be looking to try and steal one of those modes away. If you really feel strong on what is S&D and COD or execution here, you're looking to steal that one run and gun, and then you practice on your execution as much as you possibly can, and then that's where you can maybe play it out, because these kind of game modes can kind of, in a sense, not necessarily come down to luck, but I feel as if you're easier able to steal rounds away on execution than you are a game away on something like control or something like escalation, and just see how it kind of plays out. It's one of those things that teams will have to sort of think, where do you put the majority of your resources in your practice? Okay, you would expect that it's more so of a, you practice every single game mode or whatever game mode you're bad at, or do you put all your resources into being a really good execution team and then sort of going from there?
Yeah, and it's been an interesting discussion, all right, within the community. Some have been, asking for mode picks and bans to be implemented, so teams can, gain an identity to try and work around their strongest modes, right, and have more control over picks and bans. But it's such an early stage at this point in time that I think teams probably aren't too sure exactly where their strengths are. I'm not sure if every team is practiced enough on all modes to try and work out where their strengths will lie when tested within the limit, to the limit, and everything explored strategically. And so, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait in the coming weeks to really learn where teams can differ on the different modes. in particular, with Control and EXE, them being so new. And I think perhaps EXE's a little bit more practiced historically, and also this past week from what I've seen in the community. So Control could actually be one where a team could take the advantage off another through just a little bit of practice.
Well, it's kicked off well for EXES Esports, who have broken through very, very quickly. Ricardo's the only one to answer back, but Talkboat will be his reward. How are you feeling with this one? This auto aim is disabled now, making things a little bit more difficult to land these shots with the Talkboat. Go through there?
It can. Pretty sure Lancer shots do go through there. Don't think a boom shot does. So, not sure if every weapon, well, definitely not every weapon goes through, so I'm not sure if Talkboat does. Ricardo, meanwhile, still alive. The rotation coming through, 30 seconds left, so nice, decent chunk of points still left to go if they can get in there. But oh my, Crimson's is gaining so much value from the frag grenades. That's 2 now. Pain's pushing through, Crazed as well. They'll continue to snowball that numbers advantage to keep them at bay. And that flank isn't going to pay off there for Death Dancer on the flank. I think PhantomT should be looking for the next hill now, instead of playing for the scrap time. 2 now over actually on this hill, and EXES are just going to come off respawn and rotate to the next now, so I don't necessarily agree with this. Marks are for Nestiques if he does elect to actually grab that, but not sure if he is in the end.
There's one. Things looking for a second. Is going to fall to Ricardo. The 2v1 working out for PhantomT. The rotation belongs to them, but they need to be able to lock this one in. Good shots from bouncers, but it definitely feels like one of the hills that's a bit harder to push here, Toby. I don't know if I'm just...
No, I agree.
Talking absolute was here, but you know, it doesn't look like an easy push.
Yeah, I think these corner hills are probably the hardest, I'd say, overall on the map to push. Easiest to hold, but spawn control is ideal. Right now, the push is coming from the front for EXES, so they're committing loads. Ricardo just keeps downing players, but it's not getting the kills. Revive chain comes on through. The nade just thrown in right at the back from Craze, so it's not going to help. His team kills do come through. Spawn is blocked, though. EXES had the cross-map spawn, so they're going to have to push their way all the way back. Death Dancer can't die in this situation with the numbers they have. Lovely angle from Craze through the center. Don't see that often. Not used enough, in my opinion, on this map, it being so new. Bounces with a double, and EXES. Only scrap time left to play on this hill. Perhaps they can look to the next hill to rotate and get the advantage there.
Seeming to be giving up the ghost on that one, EXES Esports. PhantomT will be, of course, the team on the lead here. About these initial fights, which way this one's probably going to go. Just going to come through, bounces and pains. Also here with Craze. That's a good spread. He should surely be dead if you're in the Nestiques on the other side, and you are. EXES Esports will lock this one in, and now a push coming through from PhantomT. Craze setting himself up in just an awkward spot. You got to clear Crazed out before you're even anywhere near. And look at this from EXES. You can see in the minimap in the top right corner, they spread it out. They push up as much as they possibly can. Nestiques is going to catch Crazed off guard, though, but where does Craze spawn? On the side of the map, so... Well, actually completely the other side of the map, so that's not ideal for PhantomT, to be honest with you, but they are now getting very, very close, but the kills nonetheless going in the favor of EXES Esports. Nobody dropping from them in quite some time. Vision falls. And EXES Esports surely will pick up a good chunk of time from this.
Yeah, stunning play from the individuals of EXES. Counteracting the teamwork from PhantomT as they push through. Talkboat still in use from Crimsons. He needs to be careful. It's going to get taken down. Nades are thrown in. Bounces will find one. Death Dancer left alive. Craze still surviving in the end. So all these hills really are going down to the wire in terms of scrap, but just in terms of the scrap points remaining each time. But EXES slowly clawing away with a little bit of a lead. Middle hill time, though. Big hill. Big hill, as we saw in District.
See if it plays out the same on Nexus. How many seconds remaining here? Which way the fight's going to go? Crazed and Cool, the ones just about surviving in here. Pins finds one himself. The thing is, as well, if you can find that flurry of kills and there's weapons up, it just further cements your lead a little bit, doesn't it? Of course, you know, the position you're holding might not necessarily be the wisest choice to maybe mess with spawns a little bit if you do make the push out, but look at this angle in from Crazed. Absolutely laying it down. EXES Esports in commanding control, not just in the map, but also in the series. 2-0 up in this best out of 5. And they're about to hit a 100-point lead here.
Yeah, Crazed is really walking the stream through, I think. A lot of the best angles to take on EXES. Crimson's with Torpo again. Definitely wants to stay alive if possible. Pushed really all the way back to the corner. Ricardo needs to try and find this if he can, so he can get back to the ring. But the reinforcements do come through. Shot on the back by Vision. Again, down to 15 points. And I think EXES will be looking towards the next hill perhaps now. Yes, they are. Pains looking to push on through. Gon's left. Vision won't be able to find that, but he's right into 3, unfortunately, angled out. Nice shot through the tarpaulin. Or however you like to describe that. That is a really great angle again coming out from EXES. And it's starting to show up. Again, the middle hill has separated them from PhantomT, or their opponent at least, as it did with 1A earlier on District. Big score lead built up. PhantomT need to get back into it.
Yeah. 75 seconds is a long time, though, and if they can hold maybe one for a decent amount of time, then possibly back into it. But it's holding it for that long, that's the problem. Pains, good shots from Vision. He'll get cleaned up.
Oh,
this is the fight for the talk. Oh, Bounces is there. Can he deal with anybody else here as well? Mystique's trying to make this push through, and it is for something important. Well played from Mystique's. It's aggressive on the push and comes out on top.
They've got short spawn as well, PhantomT.
Yeah.
They need to try and keep hold of that if they can. Make sure no EXES members are going to spawn that way. Got Torpo as well. Stick not going to come through, just hit markers instead. Ricardo is all the way back of that room. Will find one, but no more as such. Mystiques will ensure the short spawn is used, but I'm not sure if you want that at this point. Hamber's picked up. The hill is across the way. Opposite corner. Pains pushing up against 2 again with damage advantage. Nades thrown into the mix. PhantomT should have a little bit of a numbers advantage here if they can get in before a setup comes through for EXES while they're all rotating from the previous hills and spawns. They will have the advantage. I think they've done just that. Gorgeous. Amazing play from Ricardo. Make it a double. Bounce is going wide. He's going to need a revive. Not able to get it.
Transition as well. I don't think EXES Esports got anything on the previous hill. PhantomT have pretty flawlessly made their way over. Crazed is the only one trying to do something here with bounces, but PhantomT now within 10. Swings and roundabouts very much coming into play here for PhantomT now. They were so far behind. And now they're not just within touching distance, they are very much in the lead. Big turnaround here. As PhantomT lock this one in. EXES Esports have really struggled to find the push when it's been an early rotation from PhantomT. If they can get that one locked in, then all of a sudden, it is very difficult for EXES to break it. And PhantomT, well, they are 95 points away.
Look at this for a shock and battle over the wall. Can barely see the heads of both players there. Kills being traded out as we move on to the next hill. Everyone just starts pushing to try and get the advantage on the rotation. The earlier run through. Vision even tagging a nade on the side there. Might actually work in this mode. Don't see that often, do you, at all in comp? Ricardo picking up the mark. I'm not even sure if he was aware of Pains was there the entire time. But now EXES are starting to come straight on through from the spawn. And unfortunately for PhantomT, they just took too long dealing with Pains, right? Far too long to get set up.
Just held them there, didn't he? Held them there for quite some time.
Pains down.
Yeah.
EXES are wolf packing. Right on that entrance. PhantomT now.
Look at the Lancers.
Right hand hold.
Oh, EXES Esports just about holding here, but only momentarily. Well, that was the team kill going to come through. Is it going to be Pains on top? Not quite. Ricardo falls, but my goodness, it just keeps going.
He literally ran out of ammo there. He just had to boot the down because he knew his life was over. There'd be no chance of recovery against this caliber of player behind him. He'll regain for PhantomT. What a war of attrition that was. And 30 seconds left. EXES going to choose to get the Torpo instead. Smokes, yeah, good shout. Haven't seen that yet today, but now starting to be used. Look at this for a push, though. PhantomT right at the back, but EXES just flying through the door, getting enough kills to keep them at bay.
Already playing his life really well towards the back. Can you actually get rid of him here if you're Crimsons? Eventually, in the end, clear my throat after that one, but nonetheless, EXES Esports, the ones who end up with the points at the back end of that hill. But where is the setup? It's coming in from PhantomT. Ricardo survives, and it's a good job he did. He's the front line here, and the Steaks come around from behind as well with a little bit of a pinch. They're going to try and get rid of him. They do so. Ricardo's now extended out, and, well, he tried to help his teammate out, and he might be able to. He has bounces, drops, as does Craze, but the fight's being won on the other side of things now. Keep an eye on the close spawn, though. PhantomT are the ones in charge of that. Crimsons and Pains fall, and PhantomT have full control.
Excellent retake from PhantomT after Ricardo fully committed to getting the numbers advantage down low. And now PhantomT are able to take control, literally, of this map. They can just hold on to the top spawn. It's very hard for EXES to get back into it. You can see them fighting up the staircase. I think they might have just done that. Yes, Crimsons will stay alive. And now EXES pushing from the front as well. The pinch is on. Crimsons will find one. And they'll find the remaining player in vision. Lovely push from EXES there.
Massive. And they're going to keep a hold of it as well. How much time is left to play? With 26 seconds, this would put them in the lead. This is one of, if not the closest game of Control we have seen so far on the stream, but that's a big, big exchange. And EXES Esports are the ones to come out on top with it. And here's this fight over towards the next hill as well. Crazed all alone. If he can even find anything, that will be massive. Finds the one-for-one trade. Pains, there is cover there, unfortunately, and he will fall. 7 seconds remaining on the previous hill, and EXES Esports have chosen to leave it. PhantomT are the ones set up. PhantomT are the ones finding the kills. Vision gets a little bit stuck, comes out of it, finds Pains. Crimsons with the push as well. Crimsons could find another here. This would be huge. The rest of the team now coming on through. PhantomT 40 seconds away.
What a
sending us to a map
Vision.
number 4. Yeah, it's huge. Eventually, the kills start to come through. Where's the spawns for PhantomT? It's on the other side of the map. They've forced them out here, EXES Esports. They've made the long route round work out in their favor. You say that, though, and the Steaks just about surviving. Somebody towards the back, and Ricardo as well. Look at the kill feed, lighting up red. PhantomT, driving seat.
Could come down on this hill for PhantomT if they can keep holding on. Crucial shotgun fights.
That might be it.
Steaks somehow staying alive for long. And yes, it could be 15 seconds. EXES are forced to go now. They've got the short spawn. They're pushing through the center. Ricardo does get it down. 8 seconds. They need to get a team wipe at this point in time, and they might just get it. EXES will find 2, 3, 4. Death Dancer remaining as well. EXES will hold on. I don't think they can win off this ring, though. It will have to go to an X1 if EXES is to win this.
The problem is they really can't leave it at all. They need to continue to win the fights, and they cannot extend too early.
PhantomT,
Back
though.
towards the middle as well. Yeah, PhantomT are here, but so are EXES Esports. Which way is the fight going? Crimsons finds one. That second one will be huge as well. His teammates here to help out. Massive fight. The Steaks and Co trying to keep them off it. This is such a close game. 287 to 295. 5 points away from PhantomT. 13 for EXES Esports. Which way the fight's going to go, though? This is going to be a massive engagement from Crimsons. My God. The Steaks falls as well. EXES Esports might have just clutched up where they needed to. Ricardo trying his best just to survive, just to contest it. Might not be enough. EXES in the hill. PhantomT running for their lives as well. Bounces now. Just making the kill feed light of blue. EXES Esports 2 weeks in a row. What a game that was.
Absolutely speechless. 14 minutes, 26 seconds, and down to the wire. 5-point difference in the end. I thought PhantomT clinched that. Genuinely thought that was going to come through for PhantomT after some clutching up from Steaks and Death Dancer on the previous but one hell. My goodness me. Absolutely crucial plays from Crimson's. Clutching up there. It came down to the last shotgun fight, Chris. That's all it came down to. Crimson just getting the leg up. The numbers advantage was there for PhantomT. They had a 3v3 at one point. It became a 3v2, but EXES still held on until the very bitter end. Wow. From a 6-5 execution into a 5-point control, that was the two incredibly good maps there, and hugely entertaining. It doesn't get much closer than that, does it?
It really doesn't. Outside of the escalation, I think if you're PhantomT, you look at that one, you say, right, fair play. We really did push them towards it. Let's have a look at the route that EXES Esports did take, though, to get themselves as the winners today. It was anything but simple in that grand final, but nonetheless, 3 easy games up until that point, although won them by. So 2 easy games, I should say, against outsiders. Class 1A was a little bit tighter, but that game in the grand finals, what a fantastic showing and a fantastic advert for not just execution, but control as well. It has had its critics, but my goodness me, that was an enjoyable watch, especially towards the back end. My word, what a win for EXES Esports, though. A big clutch up moment here. But for PhantomT, as mentioned, they have to look at it and sort of say, we really did push them. If they can brush up on their escalation, they are very much there with EXES Esports. Head at least anyway here, Toby. That was a very, very good game.
And a story of the center hill and control again, actually. Again, EXES were just the better team when it came down to that cluster of fights, right? EXES seemed to get the leg up, the advantage in the points department. They got a huge bunch of points the first time we saw that center hill, right? Really thorough control there. And then in the bitter end, right? That all-out flurry of kills, EXES were just able to clutch up just that star player, that stardom from the likes of Pains, Bounces, and of course Crimson's in that very last play. That was all that really separated them from their close opponent in PhantomT. Honestly, it was PhantomT, right, that was doing better on a lot of the corner hills, right? They were rotating early. They had the teamwork. Their setups were great. Lots of clutch ups on the different corners. But again, it was just EXES really doing so well on the most difficult hill there is on the map, and that's the center hill. And fair play to them. They pulled off some incredible plays today and really held their composure against what was a very difficult opponent on those latter 2 maps.
Very, very good week of Gears 5, to be honest with you. I really, really enjoyed that. The more that's, myself, and you also get time in these game modes to cast over as well. It makes it easier to kind of understand how things are going, and hopefully we're explaining it well enough to the viewers at home as well, which quite a few of you did come to hang out this evening. Of course, skins on the go, but thank you for sticking around. Of course, make sure you do complete your quests to get a hold of those skins, and we'll be back at the same time next week. But Toby, closing thoughts on that one. Really, the 2 game modes that we haven't seen before, execution and control, coming to the forefront. They're 2 really good games.
Well, clearly we really enjoyed it. I hope it came across in our casting and those last 2 maps in particular. Went through the motion a little bit in escalation. I feel like there's some slow moments, but also some nice clutch ups, some good 1Bs and bounces, of course, comes to mind on Vazgar, and some nice pushes from EXES. But execution and control, that was brilliant for me, right? Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I've really enjoyed that. And it was extremely close between both teams. And I'm personally hoping that the whole of Europe is in agreement on that was just a really enjoyable watch. And it looks like to me that the teams really enjoyed it as well. And I think it made for a really entertaining show, and plenty of strategy as well, from what I could notice as well on both modes. Execution in particular, we saw everything pretty much on Gridlock. And I was really impressed with how both these teams played the 2 modes.
Yep. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me. And once again here, Toby. I'll probably see you again next week. And thank you to everybody in the chat who did come hang out this evening. Thank you to all the players who did enter. We'll be back again, same time, same place next week. Make sure you do sign up at EGL.tv and get yourself involved. If you liked what you've seen, get a few mates together and get involved in the games. The Open Series continues for another 6 weeks before we head towards the final. So you've got plenty of time to get yourself involved. Anyway, as I said, we'll be back same time, same place next week. See you next Sunday.